My name is Matthew Welch. I'm the Deputy Director and Chief Curator at the Minneapolis Institute of Arts. And I was invited to curate this exhibition called Stoked, featuring the ceramics of potters from St. John's University. I think that the inspiration for this exhibition is the artists themselves, but the backstory is that it began as a project in the 90s when we mounted another exhibition featuring works by Richard Bresnahan and his apprentices. And so for this project I wanted to bring it up to date and what new things that Richard Bresnahan is doing, but I also wanted to feature his top pupils from the last 25 years. And so many of them have moved on to illustrious careers far away from Minnesota, and so it was fun to track them down and interview them, mostly by telephone, until the exhibition opened, and then everyone converged on St. John's again. I think the thing that unites these artists, of course, are the fact that they have this experience at St. John's University in Collegeville, Minnesota. There's Richard Bresnahan, this young man in the 1970s, studied at St. John's and St. Benedict's, and came into contact with a Benedictine nun who was a specialist in Japanese ceramics. And when he finished the program, she suggested that he find an apprenticeship in Japan, and through her contacts introduced him to Nakazato Takashi, the 20th century heir to a grand pottery tradition on the southernmost island of Kyushu. So Richard went to Japan with the idea that he would apprentice for a year, but ended up staying there for 4 years. He returned to Minnesota, started teaching, and like emulating the Japanese system, began to take in apprentices to help him and to foster their own development. And so over the years he's had any number of apprentices. The thing that unites their work, or I think some of the work in this exhibition, is the fact that Richard is very ecologically minded. He forms his vessels from clay that he's excavated himself, a clay deposit he discovered not too far from the university. So he has, he's committed to that sense of place using local materials, but also natural wood firing and the special effects that it causes on the pots, right down to also finding other materials that give the pot a kind of unique character that suggests the area. So for example, glazes are formed from ashes, wood ash or straw ash. So he discovered that the Cargill sunflower seed processing plant, so crushing sunflowers to create sunflower oil, resulted in mountains of sludge that is then incinerated. And so he convinced them also to give him the sunflower seed ash. And so that resulted in a beautiful, luminous, yellow glaze to his pots. So in teaching this philosophy, a very Japanese philosophy of using the local materials that he could gather from the surrounding area, in teaching this philosophy to his students, they also adopted it, and it manifests itself in their ways, one way or another, throughout the exhibition. I think that the remarkable thing about this exhibition, particularly in this space, unlike where it's been shown elsewhere, is that people can get so close to these objects and really enjoy the texture and the subtlety of the surface effects, the glaze, and so on. That's not been the case. In this beautiful Mies building flooded with light, you can really see some of the great subtlety that these artists have achieved in these pieces. And I think that's consistent across the works. Each of them is very different, but this is just a splendid setting for seeing that.